Hi, I'm Darlene from the Danbury Library, and when I'm not working at the library, I'm volunteering my time at the Wildlife Line in Sherman, Connecticut. We rescue and rehabilitate wild animals, like my buddy Earl here. Poor Earl fell out of a tree and hurt his head, so we're keeping him here until he can get better. He's one of our little patients. So today, we're going to read a book called Earl the Squirrel. You ready, Earl? Would you like to read a book with us? Maybe take a little nap? Let's see if Earl would like to read a book with us. Okay. Early one autumn morning, a mother gray squirrel sat talking with her young son, Earl. "It's high time you went out and learned how to find acorns on your own," she said. But Earl didn't know the first thing about finding acorns. So away he sailed to visit his friend Jill. "Good morning, Earl," said Jill. "Here's an acorn I've saved for you." Earl was pleased to have found such a big acorn so quickly. His mother would be so happy. He twitched and twirled his tail, which was his way of saying, "Thank you very much. And here's a nutcracker to help you open it," Jill added. Earl scampered home, eager to show his mother what he had found. But when she saw him, she said, "Earl, come in here this minute. I want to speak to you." So Earl went in to see his mother. "Who ever heard of a squirrel needing a nutcracker? Why, it's absurd," his mother scolded. "You got that from Jill, didn't you? I'll bet she gave you the acorn, too. That girl is making you into the most spoiled squirrel in the world. Now take that nutcracker right back." So off he went. "You're back so quickly? And you didn't want the nutcracker? Well, never mind. I have an extra special present for you," Jill said. And she tied a beautiful red scarf neatly around Earl's furry neck. "I really made it for my doll," she said, "but he wanted to give it to you." How proud Earl was of his scarlet scarf. Back home he sailed with his tail unfurled. But when Mother saw the scarf, she said, "Earl, come in here this instant. I want to speak to you." "Who ever heard of any of us needing something around our necks to keep us warm?" his mother fussed. "Now that girl has done it. You are the most spoiled squirrel in the world." We like him spoiled. Huh, Earl? You like to be spoiled too. Earl knew his mother was right. That night after supper, he tied his scarf into the shape of a sack. While his mother slept, out he crept. Earl wanted to show her that he could find an acorn on his own. All night long, Earl searched in the bright moonlight, under rocks, up in trees, and inside empty old moleholes without finding a single solitary acorn anywhere. By morning, Earl was very tired. In fact, he was all worn out. His ears were getting cold. He tied the scarf around his head. "That's better," he said to himself. "Maybe that's an old squirrel hole for me to sleep in," Earl thought as he saw a hole in a tree. But look who was inside. "Oh, excuse me," said Earl. "I didn't know you lived here." "Who did you think lived here?" hooted the great horned owl loudly. "And who ever saw a squirrel wearing a scarf?" "My friend Jill gave it to me," Earl said proudly. "By the way, could you tell me where I might find an acorn?" "An acorn?" hooted the great horned owl. "Why, certainly. There's a giant oak tree right over there full of acorns, but I wouldn't go anywhere near it if I were a squirrel wearing a scarlet scarf." Conrad the bull would not like it one bit. You know what bulls do when they see red? They get awfully mad. But Earl didn't hear a word the owl had said about the bull because he was already halfway over to the tree. And look who was snoozing under there peacefully. Conrad the bull. Earl hopped up on top of the bull's burly back. He didn't see Conrad's long, sharp horns. All he saw were acorns galore. "Who's tickling my shoulder?" the big bull smoldered. Earl didn't see Conrad's nose. All he saw was a great way to reach acorns. And all Conrad saw was Earl's scarf. Just then, Conrad got awfully mad. With one flying leap, Earl escaped up into the tree, but his scarf came untied. It slipped off his neck and it dropped. Quick as a flash, Earl reached down and snatched his scarf. "Don't you tear my beautiful present," he said. Conrad snorted and charged with all his might. He charged right into the tree, and his horns got stuck. He pulled and yanked until he shook poor Earl out of the tree, along with hundreds of acorns. Boink! One fell right on top of his head. "Ouch! That hurt," he said. "Thank you, Mr. Bull," said Earl politely. "I didn't mean to put you to all this trouble. I needed only one acorn. But I guess I'll take two. Tomorrow I'll be back for more." After tying 2 acorns in his scarf sack, Earl threw it over his shoulder and hurried back home as fast as he could scamper. Conrad grunted and groaned until at last, with a powerful yank, he freed his horns from the tree. Down the hill he reeled, head over hoofs, until he was out of sight. Whoops. You don't like that bull, do you? Yeah, he's gone. When Earl arrived home, he presented one of his acorns to his mother. She saw it and said, "Earl, come in here this moment. I want to speak to you." Once inside, his mother took a bite of a ripe acorn. My, this is the most delicious acorn I've ever tasted. How did you find it?" "Oh, my lucky scarf helped me," Earl said happily. After his mother finished her acorn, he went to pay Jill a visit. On the windowsill, sitting very still, was Jill's doll. After taking out the acorn, Earl tied his scarf around the doll's neck. "Here, sir. I don't think I need this anymore." Then Earl gave his tail an extra twirl, and before he swept away, he left the acorn for Jill. The next night, the moon was full, and Earl returned to the giant oak tree. Thanks to Conrad, there were plenty of acorns scattered on the ground for tomorrow. But tonight, Earl scampered up to a high branch and picked one for himself. The end. So it sounds like Earl, in the story, learned how to go out and find nuts all on his own, after some help from Conrad the Bull and the Owl. Our little Earl here, he can't go out and find nuts for himself. So we keep him here and feed him acorns and all kinds of tasty treats that little animals like. So if you'd like to learn more about the Wildlife Line, you can go to our Facebook page and see some of the animals that we're taking care of. Right now we have a couple of baby raccoons, and you can see pictures of them. See some pictures of Earl the Squirrel. Earl's happy now. And see what we do. So I hope you enjoyed our story time. I think Earl did. And I hope you come back to Danbury Library for more fun story times. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.